from Being in Sync 366 video series. This is video 222 in this series. That means I've done 222 videos every single day this year. That's a lot. I never expected to ever do anything like this. I am hopeful that this series has been supportive of you on your journey. And today, that is what I want to talk about the journey of healing. But before I do that, I want to answer a couple things that are always in the chats, which is, are you a doctor? Are you a therapist? What's your education? And I think you all need to really start to question the criteria in which you are giving these people who you think have more authority because they have a degree. Let me tell you, I have met many people with many degrees, MIT degrees, Harvard degrees. Let me tell you, their degree does not make them more in tuned or more educated to give advice than anybody else. What you want to look for is somebody who's got a lot of experience. And that, my friends, I have. I have a lot of experience on this process called being in sync. That means getting in alignment with yourself. And let me tell you, there is no degree that would be able to align the level of education that is needed to do this journey. It's all about how are you integrating your experience to your life. And so no, I'm not a therapist. I know a lot about psychology. I think there's a lot of manipulation in higher education. That was one of the biggest things. Hi, Eric. Yay. Good to see you here. When I was working on my master's degree, and I was, so I have a master's in organizational leadership and conflict management. And I was around a lot of smart people. And what I realized is there's a lot of people with degrees that are not that intelligent. They might be book smart, but they don't really know what's going on with themselves because they've been so focused and heady into this book and these books in college and these dogmas that come along with education. So I'm not bashing formal education. I'm really glad I got one. But as far as your spiritual journey is concerned, it's really about unlearning, right? So your spiritual journey, and who gets to come along with you is really going to be determined by your free will. And that's what a lot of people don't understand about energy, is that your free will determines a lot. But because so many people are not determining anything, meaning they're not claiming their field, they don't know their field, they're not educated, they don't know the language. And because of that, they are getting manipulated. And which is one of the reasons why I went into this field, is because one, I was manipulated, and two, the language of people in the spiritual world, I didn't like that they would do things without my awareness, and I didn't understand what they were doing. I didn't like that. And so I wanted to know more and do more. And so I was always very in tune and empathic, but I didn't understand how manipulation was occurring. So when I say you get to choose your journey, you choose your journey. But if your journey includes that you're not the expert on your body, that you're not the expert in you, and you are deferring to somebody outside of yourself, that's going to be a very, very rocky road. So what you want to understand on your journey is that not everybody's going to come with you. You know, you might start on the journey to becoming more aligned, and you're going to have more and more awarenesses. Some of them are going to be painful. Some of them are going to be brutally painful. Some of them may cause more trauma than you thought was possible. And that's why you want to be very particular about who you're bringing along on your journey. You're not going to be able to share and stay in the same networks and friendships and jobs when you start to expand in consciousness. Because when you are working with people at a very low frequency and you're starting to become more and more aware, if you stay hooked into that, it's going to eventually spiral you down. So you want to really understand that when you're making conscious choices, it means that you may have to do a lot of things that are uncomfortable. Be around new people can be very uncomfortable for a lot of people. Not talking to your family about certain things or about your life in general might be very uncomfortable for a lot of people. Not those people who were bullied by their family, because those people, and there's like over 15,000 of those people who have watched those videos, because there's a lot of people who have been bullied. So, who do you want to go along with your journey is not necessarily going to be the choice you think you will make based on your thinking. It's going to be based on your feeling. And so some of your friends are going to need to fall away. For a lot of us on this journey, it means changing your friendships totally and completely, almost 100%. There are some people that will continue to accept you as you change and grow, and there are other people that are not going to understand your path at all. So your journey is going to be unique to you. There's not going to be anybody else who's having the exact same experiences as you do. Being an empath does not mean that you are empathic the same way other people are empathic. Being intuitive does not mean that you intuit the same way other people intuit. Being telepathic, like all these extrasensory abilities, are expressed differently depending on your unique soul signature. So, the path can be crazy, but it's totally worth it. And the one thing that I think people, and I have done this too, and I've had somebody tell me before that, I keep things past their expiration date, like soured milk, don't, you heard it here first. Don't do that. You want to be making conscious choices. If you know the job that you're in doesn't resonate, make the choice to change it. Don't sit and wait until it gets worse and worse, and then it gets worse, and then you get fired or you get let go. Don't wait. Make the choice beforehand. Anyways, I can go on and on about this topic. I'm just going to see what you guys are saying in the chat about this topic. Let's see what you guys think about the spiritual journey. Oh, these glasses are dirty. Okay. Eric, so good to see you. Algeria, hello. England, hello. Good to see you. Okay. Just going to remove some of these chats. It's just ridiculous. Anybody have any questions about the journey? Yes, I love to exercise. I think for me, exercise is an important part of the spiritual journey. However, that has changed. How about my horror stories? Well, I've got plenty of those. Horror stories on the journey of being in sync. Well, I would say I've been challenged more than the average person in many ways, both in my career and also in my personal life. I don't consider them horror stories. What I consider them as, you know, they're harsh realizations. I think, it's really important on the journey to alignment that people get used to being uncomfortable, which I am an expert at being uncomfortable. And I'm an expert at making and helping other people go walk through discomfort. What I will say is a horror story. I would say I don't have horror stories. Let me think of another word, a challenge. Well, I put the video up about being bullied by your family. So, check that one. That's a big learning, a big awareness. Watching people die has been probably to present date the some of the biggest blessings and gifts in the experience, and also is presented some of the biggest challenges. I would say one thing in the spiritual journey that people don't talk about enough is how incredibly difficult it is to be a compassionate witness, to watch people walk their path of pain and suffering, knowing, literally knowing and having alternatives that absolutely do bring peace and harmony within, and people still choose pain and suffering. I would say to be compassionate witness to those people has been one of biggest, the biggest things that I would think that goes untalked about. People just don't talk about how challenging it is to witness people continuously choose painful ways of being. And, you know, somebody said, oh, I look like I work out. I honestly I don't think I work out more than other people. I think I do a lot of self-care. You know, my whole life is based on doing things that are in resonance with what feels aligned, right? So this is my whole life. So I spend my life that way. I don't work out how I used to work out. Everything is about, is this in alignment for me today in this moment? And if it's not, I don't do it. Even though I may want to go do a 2-hour ride, I know now that doesn't work for me. So being a compassionate witness for others, I think, is one of the biggest challenges that people don't talk about, but also being compassionate witness for yourself, and allowing yourself the grace that is needed on this journey of awareness, because there's a lot of very uncomfortable awarenesses. But I think, you know, maybe if there's another question other than what are my horror stories, you know, I think, you know, being bullied by your family is pretty harsh. I've also, you know, I've done a lot of work with the government, and I think I probably had more 800-line hotline calls in on me for more lies than any other person I've ever known in government work to have. I mean, literally, I would get phone calls made to report me every month. Not because I was doing anything wrong, just because people are jealous, envious, hateful, angry. The list goes on and on. People project a lot of things onto others. So this is one thing I will tell you is that when you are on the healing journey, projection is a thing, right? You know, people project, and projection is when you, let's just say somebody, I don't like her, is really saying, I don't like something about me. So when people, if there's some agreement there between us, and she says she hates me, that could get stuck in my energy field. And so what I would say is that a lot of people are carrying the hate and discontent that other people have towards them because they don't know how to address their energy field and clear it of things that are not supposed to be there. Like, I know that there's people, I absolutely have a handful of people that really don't care for me, which I'm okay with. I don't need people to like me. It's okay, I'm okay with that. However, I don't want their energy getting stuck in my field. Like, so I have to make sure that there's no way any agreement there at all. And that could be difficult for people to understand, where I'm just like, no, I don't care if they like me. Just make sure they do this. Like, I'll just make sure they do this and they don't need to come talk to me. So I don't know if that makes sense, but that could be quite challenging. Somebody's saying I look like a BBC reporter. Couldn't be further from the truth on that one. Hi, Australia. Account. I make $40 an hour. I don't even know what you're saying. I know these glasses are so dirty. Hello, Dubai. Don't you people who have better things to do in the chat, who has a question? I don't watch the BBC, okay? No, I don't like news. I don't like general main account newses. What's been the most challenging part of being on this being in sync path? I think the most challenging part of being on the path of being in sync is that a lot of people don't know the value of being in alignment. When you go into alignment with yourself, that means that you're not going to really resonate with a lot of things that the general population likes to do. It, and it could be quite, I want to say, not lonely, not isolating, but it can mean like a very, very small community. Until you start to align with more people in your world that believe and think similarly, or more importantly, are just open and accepting, which a lot of people who think they're open and accepting are so closed. So I would say that's the other thing, is that there's a lot of people that think they know what being alignment is, and yet they're operating with closed minds, closed hearts, and they know that they have work to do, but they think reading a book is doing that. Or they think that if they just pretend having fun, that they're having their best life. Even though when you have closed systems, closed ways of thinking, closed ways of believing, things that make you separate from others, it's really unhealthy. So I think that's the most challenging aspect of the spiritual path, is that most people just don't understand. There's a lot of people that don't believe in God. They don't believe in source energy. They don't believe, there's a lot of anti-Christ energies. And people don't understand that Christ is a consciousness, not just this religious church thing that goes on. And people get really confused between spirituality and church, consciousness and religion. They couldn't be more separate. But there's been such a good brainwashing system that's gone on that people don't really understand that they've been, people just don't really understand that they've been brainwashed and conditioned and programmed to believe certain ways that keep them locked into a system that's small and limited. That's a long answer. What does the spiritual path mean? Well, the spiritual path means that you are integrating your higher sensory perceptions, your spiritual self, and your God self in alignment with your soul purpose. That's what the spiritual journey is, at least from my perspective. Although I think you could go and ask anybody and they might give you a different answer. But from my perspective, the spiritual journey is all about integration. Integration of your spiritual self, integration of your heart path, your soul path, and they all come into alignment. And, then you're at greater ease. It doesn't mean you don't do hard, challenging things like challenge beliefs that you've been told since you were a little person, since you were growing up, that were inaccurate. They were wrong and they were lies. And then learning what's real for you, like challenging those things. That's not easy to do, but that's part of the spiritual path. It means you have to let go of what you think people are, like even your parents. Oh, you think your parent is one way, and then you learn they're another way. And then what do you do with that? That creates an inner conflict for many people. And what do you do with the inner conflict? Most children hold the inner conflict and they give their parents a reprieve. And I just don't think that's the right way to go. That's my opinion. That's just how I roll. Somebody's asking me, Martina is asking me, tell me who you are. My name is Kiannaa Sadge, and I guide people to peace. And I'm doing this series here called the Being in Sync 366. It's a leap year, so I've been doing a video every single day to help make the spiritual journey more practical and applicable for people every single day. Like, there's no reason that you can't go into alignment. Money is not a reason. And there was a guy in the chat a couple days ago that says he doesn't have enough money to be aligned. And I thought, I'm laughing at that belief because it's absurd. But so many people have absurd beliefs and they do not challenge them. I mean, there's so many things that are available at no charge. Your spiritual journey, you shouldn't have to pay for it. Yes, I offer services to help people become more aligned and more at peace and at ease because I work at a faster rate. If you want to go faster, you want to work with somebody like me. But you could do a lot of this stuff on your own. You can learn on your own. One session with somebody like me will catapult you forward for months and months and months, if not years. Anyways, Sebastian, maybe turn on your earpods. Everybody else seems to be hearing me. Huh. Somebody else saying they can't hear me too. Can you hear me now? Okay, I'll take the headset out. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Or is this just another trick? There's a lot of you saying there's no audio, so I'm going to say something happened. I don't know how I got muted. Can you guys hear me now? Just say yes. Yes, my nose is very unique. Okay, I'm going back. Somebody is asking, why did my first husband leave me? I've only been married once and I'm still married. And so I don't know where you're thinking this. Okay, good morning, Japan. Hello, hello. Okay. So yeah, I'm totally comfortable in answering. What are my dark secrets? Secrets keep you sick, and I don't have secrets. I don't tell my business to the entire world, but I don't keep secrets. In fact, I've done a lot of videos in this series about the dangers of keeping secrets from others and not sharing totally and completely with others. And, you know, it's unfortunate what happens with secrets. I've seen it in my own family. I personally don't keep them, but I see what happens to people that do, and they struggle. So I do not keep secrets, and I don't have dark secrets. I have personal business, which is not the same as a secret. Somebody is asking, the 420 cat is asking, do I think it's possible to unite humanity? Not only do I think it's possible, I think it's happening. I think there's a faction of humanity that is going to come together. And I think there's a large faction of people that are resisting their own personal sovereignty, their freedom, and their connection to God, whether you want to call it God, creator, source energy. When there's that resistance, there's really no helping. People, they won't be saved. They're going to be stuck. And so is that unfortunate? I believe it's unfortunate because, you know, there's been a lot of people that want to believe that they are going to be the exception to the rule. And the only exception is when you have created that interconnection within yourself. I do think there's really no escaping. There's no escaping doing your own personal work. There's no escaping it. You have to create inner congruence. You need to have a relationship with God and your connection to Creator, and you must be willing to let go of those beliefs that don't align with kindness, love, compassion, humanity. And I do think that there is a group of very wealthy elitists that create problems for much of humanity that we're experiencing. And because people don't utilize what's called critical thinking, people just do not ask questions. And I think people need to ask more questions about why is this way? Why do I believe this? Why do I think this? And they just don't go deeper. But I do absolutely think unification is possible and plausible and is happening for more people than are out here talking about it. Yoel is saying a lot of people have traumas that built up beliefs that make filters that they begin to projecting all over everything. Yeah, but trauma is not an excuse. You know, it's not an excuse to not go back and feel. It's not an excuse to not go back and heal. You know, I think that most people who have experienced a lot of trauma, they go to traditional methods like therapy, and they found it didn't work, and then they give up on therapy and they lose hope. And I think that the healing is not happening up in the mind. It's going to happen in the heart. And when people have traumas, the first thing to close is their heart. And people need to learn how to create a safety within themselves. And the best way to do that is through your connections to your higher self, your God self, your spiritual self, and start to understand your energy field, because that's very empowering. And but projection happens. Hey, that's a thing. The key is to not accept the projections that are not yours, because there are people that do that as well. I'll go through a client's field and I'll pull out all the projections that got stuck in their field. And immediately they can tell they feel lighter. Yoel is saying these blockages are held energetically and until they become physical alterations in their forms. Yoel, what you're saying is that everything is created in the non-physical, right? I agree. And if you don't address those unhealed wounds, if you don't address those unhealed emotions, they will come up in the physical form as an illness, as a weakness in your field, and your inner communications get blocked. I agree 100%, Yoel. You're very wise. Wandy is asking, who is my celebrity lookalike? When I was younger, I don't even know what her name, I think, is it Sarah Jessica Parker? I think that's her name. When I was younger, I used to get stopped for her autograph. Believe it or not, my hair is naturally curly. Sarah Jessica Parker, when I was younger. Okay, Travis, you're done. Let's see. You can become a lion for your own sister. Don't become a dog for other sisters. I don't know what that means. Casey is saying something. I have no idea what he's saying. Tricolor is saying, get real. Just looking for questions about the spiritual journey. I am reading the chat. Thank you, Eric. Eric says, I hope you have a great evening. Thank you so much, Eric. I appreciate you being here. Yoel. I don't, people are asking about YouTube lives. I don't know anything other than I press a button and I do it. And I'm sharing this information for people to learn. A lot of political stuff in this channel, which is random because we don't talk about politics here. We talk about sovereignty and freedom. Total opposite. Somebody's saying I need a moderator on here. I do these lives and I just skip to see if there's any questions. And yeah, I think these people, a lot of them don't have much to say in the chat. Okay, what is my method for working with inner connections? Connections through your heart and energetic states. What is my method for working with my clients? Is that what the question is? First, I think that's a really great question, Yoel. What is my method for working on inner connection? So the first thing I do when I'm working with a client is closing my eyes because I'm seeing it. I look in, so when somebody authorizes me to work with them through payment, that gives me authorization to energetically look into their field and start seeing, sensing, and feeling what is causing disturbances or in some instances interference in their field. So a lot of people want to be going in one direction, but they keep on hitting walls. There are things called energetic locks. So I'll go through a series of questions that are general questions that I want to I just want people to be able to be in their sovereign free states. And a lot of times people have gone into agreements with things that they don't understand. They don't understand agreements. They don't understand contracts. They don't really know about how implants happen, how hooks could get you flipped around. They don't understand timelines or feedback loops. Like there's so much of a different language but I'm checking those things. So I don't try and explain everything, but I absolutely explain what I'm picking up on for a client. And then I always let the client decide, free will, which direction they want to move forward with. Inner connections are always going to be connected to clarity, in my opinion. How clear is their field, their own personal energy field, and most people don't even know what their energy field is. So just giving them a sense of what their energetic field feels like when it's cleared and contained, so so they can start to sense and see and feel things. Most people, I would say 99% of my clients can feel the energy shifts when they're happening. Some people are more sensitive than others. Some people are more dense than others. Like I had one client from another country, I want to say it was Turkey, and he just was so dense. He was so dense in his energy field, and he was so locked into his mind that he had a really hard time feeling or sensing. The good news is that the results happened regardless if he felt it or not. His situation shifted. So when you clear density out of the field, you can feel your inner connections much easier. So I hope that answers some of your questions. I think conscious breath is really helpful. Um, Oliver is asking, is there any books or videos I recommend reading about the spiritual path? No. I'm thinking about that, and there are lots of books I can give somebody to go read, but the best advice for investment of your time, I think, is to learn to consciously breathe on a regular basis every single day, maybe twice a day. And the other thing is to reflect. Reflect on your day. Ask yourself, what did I learn? What do I need to learn? What do I need to improve? Where am I not seeing the lessons that I need to see? You need to start scanning your field for what do you need to learn to grow. If you are just too comfortable in your life, you will not answer those questions, and then you won't grow. And you can't just learn the lessons. You got to make conscious changes. There must be conscious action from the learning. So I'm not going to recommend to go get and read more books. I think that is confusing, and that's just going to get you in your head. You need to learn how to be present with yourself and in your heart. Let's see. Yeah, there's a lot of trolls. Albert says, seems to be a nice person. Billy says, that's complicated. Billy says, much easier than you are saying. It makes me think avoidance on your part to answer. I don't know what question you're talking about. Nobody has ever accused me of avoiding, Billy. You're the first. So, Billy, tell me what you think I'm avoiding. Matt, how do you find an old doctor? I have no idea what you're talking about. Yoel says, thank you for your answer. Meditation is the first step to inner connection. Meditation is great, but a lot of people have a hard time with meditation. That's why I say conscious breath. Just breathe. Consciously focus on breathing is the easiest way. And also, there's so many different kinds of breath works out there. I mean, I have my favorites, and I put them on this channel as a... but I don't think... I think the first step is different for everybody. Usually the first step is a crisis, and that's the crisis that brings you into awareness. That's like, oh shit, I've got to do something different here. You know, I think the biggest difference is whether you're listening to yourself or not. A lot of people have blocks to meditation, and I will say there's a lot of meditations out here. These apps that are supposed to be helpful are fucking with people's brains, okay? People don't really understand that they are making themselves very vulnerable. Might be easier, but it's vulnerable. And its vulnerability is not a good thing. People do the same meditations frequently. They do them all the time. They don't switch it up. And what happens is the brain patterns get stagnant. And that's not good. Higher levels of consciousness require varied approaches. And so many people are so dependent on these apps for meditation, to learn meditation, that they can't even sense themselves because they're looking for distractions. So I don't think meditation is the first step. I think usually a crisis is the first step that calls into conscious action. But meditation and conscious breathing, I think they're not the same thing. They could be called the same thing, because you can walk and do walking meditations, and just being present with yourself, that's a meditation. I cook, and when I'm preparing my food, I'm in prayer. I'm saying loving things towards the food. I'm appreciating the food. I'm in gratitude of what I'm cooking. There's a certain thing that I like to make, and I just love the feeling that I have when I'm preparing this particular meal. And I don't even like to eat it, but I love the process of making it and baking it. That's a meditation. And you don't need to go outside of yourself to get, you just don't need to go outside yourself for meditation. And I think these apps, they're just really doing humanity a bigger disservice, because again, it's causing people to go outside of themselves when we really want to go within. You know, what is the first step is to get in touch with what's in here, what's in my heart, what's in my mind, what needs to be cleared out, what's blocking me, what do I not want to let go of, why don't I want to see my family how they really are, which is unkind and yucky. And you know, that's what stayed me with my family for so long. They were so mean. I just thought, hey, everybody's family's mean. And then I realized, oh, I really am much better when I'm not in contact with my sister. Billy says, I find calmness, that's the first step. Medication. I think medication is another way in which the brain is being manipulated to go in particular patterns in which people can be more manipulated and controlled. Billy says the 4 agreements. You know, Billy, I actually read that book. I think it's good. It's part of my curriculum when I was teaching leadership, like emerging leader programs. I would have that as a book, because I think people don't practice, you know, those agreements very well. And it's very enlightening for people to take any one of those agreements and practice it for a week. Don't try to practice all 4, but Billy is saying the 4 agreements. I would say that is a solid, good book. But I will tell you, when I was turned off from the book is when I went to go see Miguel Ruiz speak in person, and he was horrible. Absolutely one of the worst public speakers I had ever experienced. And after that, I really do notice, you know, what gets published and the frequency and the vibration of something in the book is very different than how the author might show up, you know, because obviously there might be years in between the time that the inception of the book occurred and the frequency in which he wrote it in, and then how he presented in person was a stark difference. And that was a strong incongruence for me. I did not care for him. I liked the book. Billy's also saying the mastery of love. I don't know those ones. Billy, I think a lot of everybody's path is going to be unique for sure. And I think books can be helpful, but I think they can also be quite a big distraction for a lot of people, because they read and they read and they read and they read. And really, it's about application and applying. It's about applying things to get into alignment. It's not about reading them. It's not about checking it off a list. Somebody says they like my glasses. Thank you. Oh, Billy, we're in agreement about something. I don't know what it is. Yoel is saying, yes, when you're trying to get out of a system that has caught you in the maze, the best thing to do is learn how to build your own system so you don't get caught in the confusion of another maze. Yoel, what I will add to that beautiful comment is also, how many people are willing to see that they're stuck in demonic systems? Most people are afraid of demonic energies. And because they're afraid of it, they can't even see it. So you have to be willing to see. You need to get educated. You need to understand black magic so you know if it's being practiced on you, right? So one of the big things, I'm not going to go into it, but one of the big things about the Olympics was how demonic the opening ceremony was. Like, it was filled with all kinds of craziness. That's not something, you know, that would have happened 20 years ago. But now, are people seeing it as demonic? Are they seeing governments as demonic? I don't know. You have to be willing to see it. And a lot of people think that that's happening in France. That's not happening here. That's not happening in the US or in Canada. And these people are in a lie. And they have to be willing to see. I'm just looking to see. You'll very insightful here. Thank you. I really appreciate Yoel your comments. Very interesting. Albert is saying not much intelligence on YouTube. She is intelligent. Well, thank you. Let's see. Is there any questions here? What is within and without? Well, the answer is always within, right? The answer is always within. But how many of us have been conditioned to not listen? To not listen to your inner knowing, to not listen to your instinct, to question your instincts. Really, when you have a question or doubt, that's an invitation to go in even deeper. But how many people don't trust themselves? Myself included. I remember when I got had, and when the first time I admitted I got had to myself, because you know you have to get out of your ego to realize, oh, they got you good. You really got. They got you, and that it's a humbling experience. It takes you out of the ego mind, and you really need to get out of the ego mind to go within. And you don't think you're connected, you know you're connected. And when you are in your knowing and you're in alignment, and you know, you feel different to other people. They won't mess with you as much. That doesn't mean energies can't be thrown at you, but it does mean that you're stronger and more resilient. Let's see. Albert, you're impressed. Oh, thank you. Tanu is here from USA. Matt, same here. I hate my family. I didn't say I hated my family. I just don't care for, I definitely don't hate my family. I'm sorry if that got misunderstood. I thought I said I just didn't care for being around her. She's not a nice person. I don't hate my sister by any means. In fact, I love her. I love her so much I won't be around her. Same here. I hate my family. I am realizing the ways they brought me down and ate only a problem in my mental recovery. I think the attachment to the beliefs that we have about family is what messes with our mental health. It's the attachments to the beliefs that we have. It's not the people. The people aren't that great sometimes too. If they're unkind, they're unkind, period. See them for what they are and do what you will. Know that your time will come, because if they're doing it to others and you're watching and seeing it, they're going to do it to you. It's just a matter of time. What they will do might be different. But that's the ego mind thinking, oh, you're exempt, you're the favorite or whatever. But I will say it's not that person, whether it's your sister, your mom, your brother, whatever, your father, they're teaching you. They're teaching you how to know yourself better. And so hate is never the answer. You want to be neutral. You want to be neutral and not triggered. If you're getting triggered, that means that you still have some wounds that need to be healed, which is fine, but go find them. Go find the wounds. I'm an expert at finding wounds. I will dig them out. If I want to get to my life where I'm not triggered at all, and I think I'm almost there. But yes, I think if you realize that the people that you're calling family, I would look at what your beliefs are about your family and why you think you need to have particular contacts with them, and look at that. No, Albert, I'm not filtering. It's just me here doing these videos. I'm looking for questions. Matt. Thank you. Matt thinks I should get some moderations on here. I do not. I just read the questions that people have. that are real about the topic. Matt's trying to hold up their standards of them being hard and not knowing what they're going through. I think it would be more about it's more, Matt, I think for me, it's what I perceive is that it's more about the illusion. That if you see people for who they really are and you accept them for who they really are, would you choose to have them in your life the same way? The answer is probably no. So in order to get out of the pain of not wanting them in your life, you just don't look, or you don't get real, and you don't go into full acceptance. And that's kind of like a loop that people get stuck in, and they don't even know they're stuck in the loop. Oh, Peggy is bitter. Would you say self-empathy helps people with empathy in general and their ability to perceive others' energy? I have never heard the term self-empathy. So an empath feels, right? That's what we do. We feel. So do I feel within myself? Yes. Do I use what I'm feeling within me to feel and see what's happening with others? Yes. I think what I would say, y'all, is that the ability to be clear in your energy field helps you perceive the energy of others more precisely. Meaning when you're doing your own work, like if I didn't do my own work, I wouldn't be doing these videos, right? I would care what other people think. I would want them to think that I'm smart and intelligent and all these things. I really have no attachment to what other people think of me. So that means I can be more honest and truthful to the truth of what is actually transpiring. So I think when you have less density in your field, you're able to perceive other people's energy more in alignment with who they are. So you're in pure acceptance, you're neutral to how they're showing up. Obviously, if a client's booking a session with me, then I know that they're coming because they want to make some adjustments. So I'm looking to see what's causing discord for them. Is it physical? Is it mental? Is it emotional? Is it spiritual? Are they being attacked energetically? Do they have interference in their field? Are they in a lot of fear? Like those things are questions that I kind of rapid fire sense. But I think self-care makes you better at everything that you do. It makes you a better person, makes you a better friend, makes you a better partner, makes you a better family member. Albert's saying yes, yeah. Try to treat people as you would like to be treated, or better. Treat yourself better. I have a sign on my wall that I only want to work with clients that really value what it is that I do. I'm not here to have tons and tons of people lined up for sessions, although, I would think that would be good if that many people were awoken to the type of healing that is needed. But I only really want people to work with me who value what it is that I'm doing. I know that it's very unconventional. I also know I was guided very early on that when I transitioned my consulting to a different type of consulting, that I would never work the same hours that I worked before. I'd easily would have been a slave to the calendar and worked for hours, like 20, 15, 16 hours to make sure my events were like as good as they possibly could be. And they were excellent events. And I really loved doing every single minute of it. And I wouldn't go back and change it. But I also know that this work is a different type of energy required to be with people. What is your biggest manifestation? I don't understand. I would say what's big is small and what's small is big. I would say, I don't even know how to answer. 100% honest, I don't know how to answer that. I've had so many miracles in my life that I really feel like I have had so many blessings. But I guess the love that I have for my husband and the family that we've created, I think that's my biggest manifestation. You know, we've had to fight for our relationship, as any married couple would. We're very clear on, you know, what our couple's values are, what I value, what he values, and we're very much, I think it's important to have in our individuality and also how we are as a couple. So I don't know if that answers your question. I'm gonna have to think about that. But I would say my relationship that I have with my husband and also my personal relationship with God is probably the most powerful manifestations I've experienced. Matt is saying my dad has been a secret agent for the FBI, corpse owner. My brother's airline army sergeant, retired, became cop, FBI, CIA. Wow. Well, Matt, we could have many conversations. I have consulted to many of the agencies that you are talking about, but what I will say is there's a lot of demonic energies in those agencies. I'm more curious, Matt, what did you end up doing? There's a lot of people in the government agencies for sure that are in, and they don't ask the questions. This stream has just been about Muhammad's asking, what is the stream about? This has been about the spiritual journey and just about how different it is for all of us. Matt is saying, yeah, your twin brother is a drill instructor and depressed. Albert says, my father told me how to treat a woman, show them love and respect and attention, and never verbally or physically abuse them. Well, those are good lessons, yeah. That's a really good, everybody should be treated with love and respect, right? Okay, I'm just gonna scroll to look for questions. Okay, I got through all the questions, and it's been nearly an hour. I hope you found this helpful. Spiritual journey, just closing on, is you have free will. And I would just say, I hope you all begin to use your free will and your critical thinking more optimally. I think that makes for a stronger path where you're making really clear, conscious choices. And I would say that no response is not always the best response. You want to make sure that you're clear in your communication and voice. You don't want to go into the avoidance. And I would say, I am Kiannaa Sage, and I guide people to peace. And Matt, thank you for being here. And Paper, we're ending the stream now. I hope you have a great day. And I am Kiannaa Sage, and I guide people to peace. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks, Joel. Good to see you. Thank you for being here. Bye.